So, thank you very much for being on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
No, of course, it's a pleasure. So, I met you for the first time personally.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, probably about a week ago,
Yep.
and your whole story was very captivating. It's not like a normal. Hey, this is
No,
like a normal.
I'm kind of an interesting person. I don't.
Very
Right.
very interesting, and I want to kind of talk about that if you don't mind. Just kind of.
Oh, okay.
If you can tell us. Like who you are, and we can kind of tell us how you got to where you are right now, because we'll talk about that.
That's a good question. Yeah, because I guess I'd have to start way back, like just when I was growing up. I don't know. I've always been kind of an entertainer, I guess. When I was a little kid, I used to like watch wrestling, and then I like the announcing and stuff. So I always wanted to be a radio DJ, and or on the radio or TV. And so when I came out of high school, I went to broadcasting school, and then I went down and started in radio down in Southern Illinois. And then I did radio in St. Louis. I was been on the air for 17 years, and I did it was mostly music. It was on a big station in St. Louis, and really enjoyed that. And then radio started changing a lot, and where the DJ didn't have as much freedom to play the songs that they felt that their audience liked, and the songs that matched the stories, what was coming in or whatever. And so it just wasn't as fun to me anymore. And so that kind of ended, and a lot of people in that industry understand what I'm talking about. Even the advertising isn't as much there anymore. But with that said, I had a pretty good following, I felt, in I consider my hometown in Collinsville, Illinois, just across the river from St. Louis. And I was talking to some friends, and they're like, you should run for like office, and I thought about running for mayor and stuff, and they go, well, this spot here would be good for you, something a little smaller like councilman. And so that's what I started at, and that was about 9 years ago, and I kind of got into politics. And so then the last 4.5 years, I've become the Township Supervisor. And I guess what I will say is, for folks that aren't really aware, what is township? So in Illinois, you have cities, city government, you have township government, which encapsulates a couple of different cities, and then you have county government. Okay, so I'm like the mayor of the township, because they're like, what's a supervisor, and that's what it is. And we have a roads division, we have an assessor's department who assesses all the properties. We also have a senior center building, and so when I became the supervisor, the senior center is what I really, really love, because it's a way that if I ran for much larger office and was successful, I feel like I can't really get a whole lot done. All you do is argue, right?
Comes politics.
Yeah, and I wouldn't feel like I'm accomplishing anything, and that's what it really is about with me. And so with the senior center, I see that I can directly have an effect on people's lives. And when I started, there was maybe a dozen people coming into this building. We remodeled the whole place, and with my entertainment background and stuff, I knew how to entertain these people and to get people to come in. And we have a great lunch program with, great lunches. And now, some days we're up to 150 people come in for lunch. We pack the place. We have live bands and dances. We have tournaments and shuffleboard, and we do trips, just to different field trips. And we got a bus for free. And the one thing that I guess I failed to mention when I was talking about it, the other reason I got into politics is I have a bunch of rental properties, and it really bothers me, the taxes that we pay.
Okay.
And I don't mind paying taxes. I just want to know that when I pay taxes, that I'm getting a really good service and my money's not being wasted. And so that was a really big thing for me, and I wanted to have an effect on that. And so when I got in, I found ways. I actually was able to cut my budget down by 30% in the first year, and services went up. And when you do that, a lot of people actually on the other side, are angry. I'm like, why are you angry that I cut the budget? They think that the services are going to plummet. No, you just got to do it better. There's ways to do it better. And so that's when I came across you guys too, because the thing is that our electric bills were sometimes $2,000 a month. in our senior center and things like that. And so I'm like, and I knew that there were some programs out there. And so I put out some feelers, and I met Eric Schultz here from ARC.
Awesome.
He's a great guy. And he just came out and explained what the programs were. And so then I talked to some other people, and ultimately decided to put solar onto our senior center and our township, our office buildings.
Gotcha. Wow. And so I'm assuming you did this with funds from from the government, or is
Yeah.
or is it
So
something that you?
how it worked for us, I think there was a few different options. I think you could lease, and you could do. In our case, we had enough money available that we were able to just to buy them, and then we're reimbursed for the solar panels.
Wow.
And to be honest, you might know a lot. Well, you do know more than I do about it, but I just know that 100% of it was reimbursed. Now, when I brought this to the board's attention, a lot of them were like, "Oh, no, this isn't going to work. It sounds too good to be true."
Correct.
And I said, no, and I believed in it. And just because I think with Eric and with ARC and with everybody that I was talking to, you on the Zoom calls and stuff, you guys assured me, and I saw and I talked to some other people that no, this is legit.
Yeah.
And so we did it. So anyway, the process was really easy as far as that is concerned, and we're still waiting for our federal money to come back.
For sure.
But other than that, it's going to be fully paid for, and we just got our first bills of zero electricity cost. Where last year it was, at this time, it was well over $1,000, just at the senior center alone.
Oh my goodness, that makes a huge difference.
Oh, it is, because again, that's how I can get to where I want to be on my budget. And then when it comes to our tax levy, I don't have to levy more money to the taxpayers that's not needed. And my thing is, and I say this not just with the solar, but for other governments, they got to stop taxing whatever they want to tax, okay? Because what a lot of them do, they see the value of homes rising, okay? And so when the value of the home rises, it's called a multiplier. I don't want to get too deep into it, but a lot of people will understand this. And if you look on your tax bill, it will show a multiplier. So it has the value of your house. Say if your value of your house is $100,000, and then when the assessment is done, overall, say the assessments were off 8% that year, okay, the year before. They take whatever the value of your home was, and then they times it by that 8%. So everybody is going to be paying 8% more value of their house. Their value of their house goes up 8%. So what a lot of these governments do, is like, there's going to be 8% more money that could be available, so I'm going to raise my taxes by 8%. They don't necessarily need that money. They just do it because it's out there.
For sure.
And so a lot of people, at least in Illinois, are getting, I feel like taxed out of their home. And it just continues to go up. In some cases, some of my homes have went up 40% in just the last 5 years, just in taxes and property taxes. And so you got to find ways that you can save money. And with the solar and energy prices, the same way. Everybody knows your insurance rates have went up, your property taxes, everything has gone up. And your salaries aren't necessarily going up. And so it's really hard. And so this is a way that we are able to actually save a lot of money. And, I haven't even mentioned, it is good for the environment. That for me personally wasn't my number one driver. Again, like I said, it was taxes and it was financial. But it's good for the environment. We have to be progressive as a society to make things better, and so, so that's a little bit about me, just quickly.
That's perfect. That's awesome. So one of the reasons why we created this company was to have an impact on our community. Because like you said, it's when you get into politics and when you do things that are at a greater level, you can have an impact, but you don't see the people that you're helping. It really makes it harder. One of the reasons why we are part of these programs is because we see the impact that we have on the community. We see how that single mom who's struggling to make ends meet can now afford more groceries because she doesn't have to pay an electric
Right.
bill, right? Or her bill is significantly lower because of
Yeah.
all the
No,
different
it
incentives.
makes a huge difference, and I get on to my friends a lot because some of them that are struggling or whatever financially. I'm like, well, look at your budget, and they go into a gas station, they're buying a Monster and this and that. I'm like,
Yeah.
so that's where all your money's going. But what I'm saying is, it is so tight with some people they don't, and their electric bill comes in because one of the things that the township does is we offer LIHEAP.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and so it
What
is an
is-
energy assistance program.
Okay.
If you're a lower income and can't afford your energy or just lower income, you can get assistance. And the federal government and the state government, they all pitch in to help these folks, right? And so what I'm trying to say is the number of LIHEAP participants continues to just skyrocket every year. And it's because, too, energy costs continue to just really go up, and I just heard that there's going to be another increase coming up, at least over in Illinois. I don't know how it is in Missouri.
Actually, in Missouri, they just approved 12%, started
Mm-hmm.
this actually last month in June. And there's a lot of increases in Illinois all the time. So,
Right.
and that's one of the beautiful things about solar is that it allows people to kind of take control back, right? Because right
Exactly.
now the problem is that they don't own their energy. Right now
Right.
they're renting it. And so when you rent something, you have no control over that asset. And so if you are just renting your energy, the utility company can increase your rates, do whatever they need to do, whatever price they do, they charge you for it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
When you do a solar project, now you're owning your energy. Now there's a system on top of your home or on top of your building,
Right.
in your case in particular, that produces X amount of energy, and hopefully it offsets what you're consuming, and your consumption becomes a steady flow. Whether if you have, let's say, for example, you were lucky enough that you're able to pay for it up front and you're
Yes.
gonna get all reimbursed. So that's an incredible position to be in, right? To have solar for effectively no money out of pocket,
Right.
no money up front, and zero monthly
Right.
payments. That's just a blessing. But some people, if they're not able to take advantage of those particular programs, there are other programs that just lower their energy bill. There's programs that will pay a percentage of their bill. There's the federal ITC, the investment tax credit, that would also lower those costs. And so once they get their system and they get all those different programs added to it, their cost of that ownership is on a monthly basis significantly less than what they're paying right now.
And like you were saying is that the feeling of knowing what is next, right? It's the unknown that's always so scary because you don't know. When you moved into the house, you're like, oh, we can afford this, okay? And you could afford it. You didn't know that they were going to jack your energy price up 40%.
Exactly.
Okay, and your property taxes are going to go up and everything else. Then all of a sudden you can't afford it, and that's not fair. Especially to me, I just have a soft spot for seniors, and it's like they're on a fixed income, and their incomes don't go up, but all their prices of everything goes up. So with solar, it is an absolute way that once you get that, you know that you're going to be okay on your energy.
Exactly.
And what it is for us, for anybody that sees this and tries to understand, well, what if the sun doesn't shine? You're going to lose your power. And because I have to explain this to the people there at the senior center a lot, I said, no, actually what it is all of our energy that we produce goes straight to the system. And then the system says, okay, you produced, let's just say to make it easy, $100 worth this month, okay, and you used $80 this month. So we were $20 to the good. In our case, because we got into it by January the 1st, I don't know if the rules changed on this or not, but in our case, we had $20 because we only used $80 and we produced $100. We had $20 that went into our bank. So then in February and in January, when the sun's not as bright and shining, we use those credits.
Correct.
But my point is that this has nothing to do with if the sun's not shining, you lose your power that day.
For sure.
Right? This is just a financial thing where you're producing and you're putting it back into the grid.
Yeah, and when we design a system, what we do is we offset the consumption, right? So if you have a home that consumes 10K, so 10 kilowatt hours per year, 10,000 kilowatt hours per year, then we create a system that will offset that consumption, And what happens is that instead of consuming the energy, you have the system that produces it for you. And then there'll be times, especially during the summer months, where you're going to be overproducing.
Correct.
And that will create a credit. And if you have a net metering policy with your utility company, then they'll keep those credits on a 1-to-1 ratio. And then eventually what happens is when you're not producing, which is in the evenings or on those months that produce less exposure to the sun, then those credits come into play, and that's kind of how you break
Right.
even, right? And so at the end of the day, you have a constant cost for your energy that it's always the same. And when your neighbors are experiencing these horrible increases that they have no control over, you're comfortable where you are.
Right.
Right. So it's one of those beautiful things about this energy, like solar projects.
Another good thing too that that needs to be considered. I mean, it's maybe not as big a deal here, but I'm guessing in some of the big cities is that if on these hot days, it's good to put more energy back into the system, because some of these places they're gonna they've experienced blackouts and stuff. They don't have enough energy.
So the next problem that we'll have as a nation will be a storage one. So we'll be producing so much energy, and
Really?
we won't have a place to store it to actually really use it, because during the day, clearly, if you think about it, the time that you produce the most energy, it's when the sun's up.
Right.
And most times than not, most people are working while that takes place. So your consumption in your home is not necessarily the highest. The consumption takes place early in the morning when people are getting ready to go to work or go to school to do their things, and then when they come in the evening. But at those times, you're not producing energy. So you're hoping that you're banking on that. And the problem is that as a utility, when you have 200-300 systems bringing in energy, that's okay. But when you have way more than that, and now you have a bunch of energy that you have no way of storing,
Right.
then you're going to lose that energy.
I didn't think about that. Right.
So now the storage of that energy becomes very critical. And so there's a lot of changes that are happening right now. A lot of changes that are happening with the ITCs, with a lot of incentives for all the different technologies. Solar is being hit very hard, and solar and EV and wind are being hit very hard. But the storage, because I think the government does see that importance, it's kind of being left alone. So the new sources of energy, nuclear, solar,
Right.
storage, they still have the funds that you need to have allocated towards them. So eventually what you'll see in the state of Illinois is you're going to start seeing a lot more storage because their net metering policies are changing, and now it's going to be more critical to store some energy that produced so that you can actually use it during some days during the day.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing that's happening for sure. So, as the supervisor,
Yes.
which is effectively the mayor
Yeah.
of Collinsville, what do you like? What can you say to other people that are in your position that can actually make those decisions, that can actually make those calls? Like, how would you tell if you're speaking to, let's say, you're talking to another mayor,
Right.
And if then they're like, they've been hearing about it, right? Because everybody's
Yeah.
heard about solar. Everybody did, like, you kind of have an idea, you think it's good. You've heard some bad stories, you've heard some good stories, but you're kind of like on the fence. What would you tell that gentleman or that lady about this program? What would you tell that lady or this gentleman about this company? Like, what do you
Right,
think?
and I
is
would say
important for
that's
them to
probably
know?
one of the most important things, is because, everybody has heard those stories about these fly-by-night companies, right? And then to definitely go with ARC, because you guys made it really easy.
Thank
And that's what I told Eric in the beginning, and I said, listen, I'm more talented at other things, let's say entertainment and financials and things like that, right? But when it comes to solar panels and stuff, I don't know anything. And as far as getting money back from I don't know. You're going to have to help me with all this.
Beautiful.
And I said, I need you. And that's what I told him. I looked him right in the eye and I said, I need you to promise me that you're going to get this job done. It's going to be on time. He said, absolutely, done deal. And so he always kept in touch. He'd call my cell phone and would just keep in touch with whatever was going on. As far as they were always on time. They put the panels. I remember just to get it in under net metering, and I'm kind of straying a little bit, and I got a video myself. It was snowing, and we had to make sure that it was done before December the 31st, so we were in for net metering. Your guys were up top, and it was snowing cold as hell, and up there putting up the panels and everything. So I really appreciate that. But what I was going to say for anybody else, my biggest thing is, I just remember I was sitting on the couch at my dad's house, and we were talking about things, and then I just said, I think I'm going to look into this. I'm going to look into solar. It might have been something on TV or whatnot. And I had so many people, even some on my own board, that were very, oh, no, that's not true. You're not going to, you're not going to get the money back. And so it's the feeling of just scary, like, and it's not. I wish we would have done it sooner, because we would have saved more money. Okay. And so it's absolutely true. It's not one of these too good to be true that it's not true. It's absolutely, and the program, if you're a mayor, if you're the county chairman, which I'm going to talk to them about, everybody should be doing this, because the money is there. And what I always say about grants, some people say, well, it's still tax money, or it's still, and I don't necessarily know. I think the money's coming from Ameren and some other things. But I guess what I'm saying is, my point on all this, sure, maybe it is tax money, but I'm for my people getting my money back. All right, each town wants somebody, a leader that goes and represents their township or their city or their county and helps their taxpayers out. This is a way that you can save your taxpayers money on your municipal buildings, okay? Whatever your power bills are, you can basically eliminate those by the solar, And so I think it's almost their duty to look into this and do this, because if they're not doing it, one, it's not good for the environment. The money is there. If you don't take it, somebody else is going to take it. Yep. That's what I always say. About any grants that I get or whatever, I said, I'm there fighting for my constituents. Definitely. And that's what they should be doing. And our experience, my experience with ARC was really great. And that's what made all the difference, because I can just imagine if it wasn't, well, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I probably wouldn't have got reelected either.
and I understand their apprehension, right? Because you hear conflicting stories. You do hear those stories where people unfortunately went with a less than professional outfit, and of course the results are not there. Right. So we at ARC we pride ourselves to be a full EPC. We do everything: engineering, procurement, construction. We do it all in-house. We don't subcontract any of the work. We have our own engineers, our own purchasing department, our own specialist in pretty much in every field, and we've been doing this for a long time. So now that you see a lot of companies also just dropping, like going out of business and doing stuff, is because probably they were more concerned about making a quick profit than actually building relationships and setting their side into doing things well, doing things with integrity, doing things, and that's kind of what we pride ourselves. So that's why we became an approved vendor for this particular programs, and that's why it's important for us to kind of change that outlook for most people, because it's hard to we cannot reach everybody, but at least the people that we interact with, they can actually see, wow, these people know what they're doing. They say what they mean, and they mean what they say, which is it's very simple, but it's very hard to get in this kind of sector. So that's one of the things we.
What would you compare it to? Like, I'm just trying to think. Would it be fair to compare it to, like, after a storm hits, maybe roofers that come in or something and take your money and maybe don't finish the job?
So there's the biggest problem, I think, one of the biggest problems is that we've got a lot of, in the solar industry, there's a lot of people that sell without scrupulous. Like these sales reps, they make a quick buck and they just sell and then they leave. And then some other company then it's left there to install.
For them to do the installation.
To do the installation, everything. And so when the relationship it's such that you have no involvement, there's no real I don't know. There's real no repercussions to whatever happens on the next step. You just care about your step and you leave. And so that happens. You have relationships where the sales reps barely are there. I mean, they create that bond. They tell you what you want to hear, and then they leave. And then they give this to someone else who they have no control over.
They might even jump from state to state or whatever
They do this
one's.
all the time. They call blitzes. They literally go into an area,
Right.
they go 20, 30 of them, they talk to a whole bunch of people,
Right.
knock on people's doors, drive them nuts, and then they talk about this, which is a very good thing. Unfortunately, it's presented and it's executed very poorly, and then that people get that bad experience.
Yeah, and then it gives you guys a bad name and stuff
Exactly.
too. It
But
makes it
with
much
with
tougher.
with
Right.
us, with ARC, you have the same team from the beginning till the end. So we have our
Right.
own sales reps. We have our own. Actually, we don't even call them sales reps. They're energy advisors.
Right, and like I said in the beginning, that's the same thing with me. It's just like I wanted to make sure that you were going to be with me all the way through,
way.
you know, and you're still,
still here.
you know, and just the other day I got a request from Eric. He wanted to see our electric bills to make sure that it's performing. We even have an app. I have an app on my phone that will show exactly how much energy it's producing. And I think one day there was a little issue. I don't sit there and stare at, you know, and you guys called me and said, we see an issue. I guess there's some kind of an alarm.
We have a monitoring department, so we actually go and we check on everybody's performance, and then when we see things that are not performing the way they're supposed to, we bring it up. We
Now,
go
was
and
that
we affect it.
was that just special for me, or was that? I mean, what's the deal?
No,
Does that do it for everybody? Is it
do
like
that-
something triggers?
We do that for everybody. So, and it doesn't trigger because you could have less production for
Like if
a
it's
lot
a
of reasons.
cloudy day or
if there's
rainy
a
or
cloudy
something,
day,
right.
you have less production. Now, if there's a system if there's something that comes up, like an inverter failed or something, then yes, we will get a notification for that, and then we will immediately let you guys know, and we'll take care of it. Because part of the things that we do with this is not only do we install your system, but we maintain it and operate it for the next 15 years.
Oh,
So
okay.
you guys have nothing to worry about. You
Wow.
guys are, and since you guys took advantage of this particular program, because there's different ways to get into solar, right? You could get into solar by paying for it. You could get to solar by being part of different programs. So if you are a part of this program in particular, there's funds for those grants there's different ways of getting your money back.
Right.
There's people that will have to pay for it if they don't qualify for programs, but we have all kinds of different options to all kinds of different
Right.
customers. So it all depends on what your
situation.
situation is, and we'll be able to help you either way. If you don't qualify for an income eligible program, then you would definitely qualify for the regular one, and we'll have all kinds of different types of financing. So we just gonna make it accessible to you, and we're working right now very diligently in more products, more things that we'll bring into.
Well, because that again, it's like that's what we were talking about earlier. It's like, how would you even know? Because it's not like your lights are going to go out if your system's not working.
For sure.
You
You don't
know,
know.
so that's a peace of mind
You don't know.
to have, that if something's not working correctly, you guys are right on top of
if-
it. I mean,
and if
the
you-
next day there was somebody on the roof working on. I didn't know what the hell they were doing, but they were up
If you
there.
don't get the right company, they won't even know about it.
Right.
You will know once your bill comes up, and you go like, this is odd. I
Right.
thought we had a great summer. What happened here? And so that's why it matters to kind of deal with a company.
And I'm guessing, yeah, all companies don't do that then.
They do not.
All right, I see.
They do
Yeah.
not. Yeah. So
That's definitely a great point to make, you know,
Definitely.
because I didn't even realize that until afterwards,
yeah, definitely.
you know, so.
Well, I mean, it's been a pleasure talking to you,
Yeah,
Derrick.
absolutely.
I mean,
And I appreciate, because again, not only does it helped me, all right, because I was able to share this, and it looks good on me, but most importantly, it helps the taxpayers. It helps the people in our community. And I just encourage anybody that's, especially in government, other leaders in government, to, you know, get a hold of ARC, because you guys made it really easy, and you didn't let me down, and they won't let you down, and you're going to save your taxpayers money, and you're going to look good for doing it, you know. And so anyway.
it's a real win-win.
It is. It
don't,
really is.
We don't have those very often, and
Right.
it's one of those things where we feel proud of being a part of this thing, where we
Yeah.
really can offer a win-win.
Well, I appreciate it, because it makes me look good and smart to my people too. So anyway, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for your time. Great.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I went kind of fast on my background, but
No, it was
nobody wanted to
perfect.
know all that stuff. You know what I'm saying?